Hey everybody, hopefully it's not too loud. I'm on my porch in the back. My kids are inside, so hopefully not too many interruptions as we go through this. So last year I taught this lesson along with 10-4 in one big lesson. This year I decided let's go ahead and take a break and let's do it in two lessons. So today I want to teach you how to handle variables inside of roots. Hold on, my Notability's acting up. There we go. Okay, so here is how we handle same eligible content, same PA standards. So now what in the world do we do with variables if they're inside square roots? The rule is kind of simple. You can bring out 1 for every 2 that's inside. So let's say that you have x to the 10th inside. You can bring out 5 of them, and here's why. So if you picture x to the 10th like this as a radicand, like there's 10 of them inside. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When you take the square root of them, for every group of 2 that you have, so see how I'm highlighting these in groups of 2? The answer to that square root is that base to how many groups of 2 you had, okay? Now, if you really, really, really care why, maybe this will be helpful. You know how the square root of 9 is actually a 3? Well, that's because the square root of 9 is made up of 2 3s. So it's not just by chance that the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 9 is 3 because it's made up of a group of 2 inside, okay? Now, let's say that you have an odd amount inside. So let's say that you have x to the 13th inside. Well, 13, let's see, just for a visual, 13 divided by 2 is 6 with a remainder of 1. So you can bring out 6, but you're still going to have 1 left inside. Let's take a look at this. So there I have the square root of x to the 13th as your radicand. I wrote all 13 out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups, right? So you see how I have, there's that represents 6 groups of 2. I'm going to write that down for you. 6 groups of 2. But then that one little guy right here that I just put a circle around, he's kind of like the leftover. He doesn't have a buddy to come out. If you had pairs, if you're okay, everybody, get in pairs, and there's one person who doesn't have a pair. So it's kind of like the oddball out. It's the one who didn't get paired up has to stay inside. Everything else stays the same. So you're still going to simplify your radicals using your list. Here, I'll get my list just in case you don't have yours. Remember, on the keystones, you need to make your own list, okay? Go at least 1 through 10. I'll drag that list around with me in today's lesson. So first of all, the outside number drags down. So step 1, the outside number drags down, okay? And then what we do is we need to do 27 the way we're used to doing 27, all right? So we do like this, and then the x to the 9th, I'm going to write all 9 of them out. 8 and 9. Now we're going to do this in groups of 2 for the x's, but we'll deal with those in a second. When you go to your list, you need to figure out what on your list, remember how we used to do this, what on your list goes into 27. Eventually on your calculator, you would do 27 divided by 9, and you would get 3. So we would do 9 and 3 in those square roots. So 27 breaks down to 9 and 3, just like it always has. Step 2, drag down that negative 21. The square root of 9 becomes a 3. The square root of 3 stays put. And now let's deal with these x's. Are you ready? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. So take a look at how I'm going to write that. I'm going to write them right here. X to the 4th, but you see this guy who's still left over? He goes right here. So you're going to do your numbers the way you're used to it, and then just add the variables in. So this particular problem, step 3, will look like this. You put these two together to get negative 63 with multiplication. Then x to the 4th, and then the square root of 3x comes down. Let's try that again. Number 2. So let's deal with the numbers that we're the way we're used to. So the 3 comes down. I'll do this. I'm not sure if this is helpful or not, but I'll do it like this. The square root of 150 is going to get broken apart, okay? So something's going to go here and something's going to go here. You're going to make your way through the list. Eventually, you will get 150 divided by 25. And 150 divided by 25 is 6. So the 25 goes here and the 6 goes here. Now we really need to talk about these b's to the 8th. So here, I'll write them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Put them in groups of 2. And you can see you have 4 groups, right? So here they are. Here's the 4 groups of B's. There are none left over, so I don't put any B's inside of here. So my final answer is, oh, not there yet, am I? Nope. In fact, I actually skipped a little bit there. There's your 3. The square root of 25 is a 5. The b to the 4th tops down. And the square root of 6 is behind it. So step 3, we have our 3 and 5 makes 15. B to the 4th and square root of 6. Now my dog's barking. Let's do number 3. Okay, so number 3, step 1, we're going to have to multiply them together before we do anything. Multiply them together, okay? So we're going to do the 7c on the outside. And then the inside, we're going to have 5 times 15. Well, 5 times 15 is 75. And we're going to have c to the 5th. Because we have c to the 3rd plus c squared makes c to the 5th. Now, step 1, bring that 7c down. And let's do this and this for the 75. And then let's do the 5c's like this. Okay? So 75, you're going to make your way through that list. Eventually for 75, as you work through 75, eventually in your list you'll do 75 divided by 25 and you'll get 3. So we put the 25 here and we put the 3 here. So step 2, we're going to bring down that 7c. The 25 becomes a 5. The square root of 3 stays the square root of 3. Now let's talk about the c's. I have 2 groups of 2, so look where I'm putting them. I'm putting them right here. The 2 groups of 2 go on the outside. And then the square root of 3c is still left over. Now you can put that with the 3 now or later. Step 3, these items become 35c to the 3rd. And then the square root of 3c goes behind it. That's it. So we're pretty much going to have 3 steps after you multiply. Let's do it that way. So we're going to multiply first. So I've already taught you in previous lessons, you do the outside with the outside. I'm going to take this one as slow as possible. So you get negative 12. I'm going to highlight that in pink so you know that's where it came from. I'm going to take this one super duper slow because I feel like I rushed the other ones a little bit. I'm going to multiply this stuff together. Definitely need my calculator here because I don't want to do 15. Here we go. 15 times 75. So I get 1125, and that's from the green. And now the S's, I have S3 and S8, which makes S11. So it's also from the greens. So since you multiply them, now step 1 is going to be to drag that 12 down. I'll highlight it in pink so you know where it came from in the step above. I'm going to break the 1125 into 2 square roots. So 1125, and maybe you start at 900 on your list. I'm trying to think I wonder if it's 625. I know that's on your list. Bummer sauce. All right, let's go get that list. All right, guys. I could sit here. I know at least 25 is going to be it, but I bet that's not it. I know it is. Okay, it's going to end up being 225, I think. Let me take a look. Oh, just lying. All right, let's just, you know what, Amy? Just make your way through the list. All right, so 1125, it would be 20. Nope, just do it. It's about half, so I'll go to 625. Nope. And then I'll do 576. I'm just doing the whole process. This is a slow process, but remember how I told you guys, it'll always work if you're patient. It's just a matter of being patient. I can't be patient for you. Boy, oh boy, do I wish I could be. I think life could be a lot easier if you could build patience into people. I'm just going through it until I find something. This is hopefully the process that you'll take when you take your keystones, because if not, it's not going to work. Let's see, 289? What did I skip? I'll just do 289. There it is. It is 225. Wonder what I divided by before that I thought it was it. Oh, I did divide 222. No wonder. Okay, I thought it was 225. All right. So I finally made my way through the list. I got 225 and 5. Please excuse my children. They are loud. Oh my goodness. And now they're all outside. Now what I'm going to do with these S's, as annoying as it is going to be, I'm going to write them 11 times. Maybe somebody already knows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to put them in groups of 2. Okay, so there they are in groups of 2. And now I'm going to go through one by one. So step 2, the negative 12 drops down. Boom, 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 boom. The square root of 225 is a 15. The square root of 5 stays. Now let's talk about the S's. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 group of S's. So those, maybe I'll just put them here. That's totally fine. There's the 5 that come out. And if you noticed, we had 1 that was still trapped inside. I'll highlight him in yellow. There he is trapped inside. Now step 3, we're going to just put all this junk together, okay? So anything on the outside, how about I highlight it in orange? So I have that, I have that, and I have that. So negative 12 and 15 makes negative 180. And S to the 5th. And all of that came from the orange. And how about everything inside? I'll highlight in gray. Almost looks kind of, that's a 5, not an hexachino. Looks like Halloween there. So the gray, him, the gray. So maybe I'll just handle it that way. Let's do these next 3, and I'll do it with the exact same colors and everything, okay? So step 1. Nope. First, we're going to multiply them before we get to our steps. So the only thing I see on the outside is a y squared. Boy, I need some water. And now for the inside. A lot of stuff going on in the inside. We got a 2y and all of that stuff. So I'm going to do 2 with 128 and get 256. Oh, that's perfect. And then I have y to the 6th. So now I'm ready for step 1, okay? Step 1, the y squared hops down. So you can see this y squared just hops down, okay? But I am going to notice that this is perfect. I'm going to spell out the whole word. No, I won't. There, perfect. 256 is just 16. See that black circle? So this actually just turns into a 16 in and of itself. And now I'm going to draw out my y's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now it's time for me to put them in groups of 2. Oh, no leftovers. So step 2, I'm going to put my y squared, and then my 16, and then I'm able to pull out 3 groups of 2, and I have none left over. So everything is on the outside. So when I write this final answer, the 16 goes first, and the y's become 3 plus 2 at the exponents. That's what we learned in chapter 7. So the final answer is actually just 16y to the 5th. All right, because everything in step 2 was actually on the outside. There's nothing left on the inside for me to make gray. All right, let's try number 6. I'm going to move my calculator here. Okay, so we're going to multiply these together. So I'll do, let's see, let's get this pink and pink. So negative 9 times 1/3 is negative 3. And then the inside stuff, and I'll highlight that in pink so you know where it came from, are these items. So we're going to do 28 and 63. So 17, what is that? 1764. I don't think that's not perfect. I don't think. We might try it though. I'm going to try right now actually. Oh, it is perfect. Okay. I'm actually just going to write that. So on the next step, I'm ready to go. All right, now for the A's. That's a to the 3rd. So step 1, and let's see, I'm going to make sure you understand the green became the green. So that 3 is going to hop on down, negative 3. And now we need to break apart. No, we don't, because it's perfect. Remember, Amy? Silly me, I almost messed it up. Oh, dear. Okay, so there's the 3. Now, remember how I said that was actually perfect? If you look at my calculator, you see that's actually a perfect 42. So that's going to become a 42 here. And that's perfect, so there's nothing left there. However, the A's we need to, examine. There they are. And now I do need to examine the A's in terms of how many groups of 2. All right, so now it's time to take a look at step 2. So step 2, I'm going to bring down my -3. I'm going to bring down my 42. I have one group of A's that I can bring out, and I have one group of A's left inside. And then step 3, I need to put my -3 times my 42 in my calculator to get -126. And that has an A, and then the square root of A is behind it. All right, well, since number 9's here, let's just try number 9. Oh my goodness, my dog. Let's multiply. Bless my husband's heart, right? He's so sweet to let me do this. So 3 and 3, when you multiply, you get a 9. He's in charge of the dog, he's vacuuming, and he's letting me do my work. What a good man. Okay, so 2 times 27 is what's going to have to go inside. Oops. What did I get? 54. And then that's b to the 9, so you add those exponents. All right, now, step 1. Bring down that 9, and we need to break apart our 54. And there were 9 b's. That was a lot of them. Okay, now if you make your way through the list on 54, eventually the first one to work would be 9. So as 54 is going to be broken apart into a 9 and a 6. And then number 2, we're going to bring down that first 9. This one's going to become a 3 because you have the square root around it. This 6 stays a 6. Now we have to talk about pairs for these b's, okay? I'm actually going to use a pen. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here they are. There's your 4 groups of B, and here's your 1 that didn't belong. Step 3 is going to put all your outside stuff together. So I'm going to put this 9 and this 3 and this B4 together. So this will be 27 when you multiply with a B4. And then the inside stuff is going to be a 6B. The radicand. And now that one's all done. Dare I say it's almost easier when you have stuff left inside. Let's try number 8. Let's multiply these together. I know I'm going backwards, but it all kind of is the same. So 7 and 3, that's going to make our 21 on the outside. And then the inside is going to be comprised of 4 and 28. So 4 and 28 is going to make 112. And then A and A is going to make A squared. So step 1, I want you to bring the outside number down, and I want you to break up 112 if you can, and I want you to write the A's separately. So 112, I know it divides by 16 when you make your way through your list, if you trust me. You would get 16 and 7, and that should be something that hopefully we don't struggle with anymore. That's kind of back to basics from 5 lessons ago, and we've been repeating that. Step 2, please bring down that 21. The 16 becomes a 4. The square root of 7 stays the square root of 7. And you have one group here. So I write A to the first. There's no A's left inside. No, I just tagged her. Okay. Number 3. My kids are right here in the back, just so you know. 21 times 4 is 84. And then the A has to come with it. And then you have the square root of 7. So that you can see that the 21 and the 4 and the A were all on coefficients on the outside. That's how I got 84, A to the first. And then the 7 was on the inside. All right. Let's try number 7. Let's shrink that down a little bit. So my outsides are just, when I multiply, a negative and a 2. So step 1, a negative times a 2 is just a for multiplying purposes. You just get a negative 2. And then the insides are going to be 21 and 7. So what do I end up with? 147 on the inside. And then M2 and M2 is M4. That's my dog. Scratching at the door. Step 1, we bring down that outside 2, and we break up 147 into 2 square roots. And we write our m to the 4th separated out. Okay. They're all like, hey guys, be quiet. My mom's doing her schoolwork. All right, 147. I wonder what that breaks down to in your list. I mean, I guess I could guess 64, but that's definitely not it. Is it possibly 49? It is. Okay, it's 49. So we put 49 here, and we put 3 here, and that came from the 147. Now step 2, drag down that 2. The 49 becomes a 7. The square root of 3 is trapped. They're so loud. And I have 2 groups of 2, like that. And there were none that didn't pair up. I am so sorry about my children. Step 3. All the outside numbers are -2, 7, and the m squared. So it's -14m squared with a square root of 3. And that's the end. All right. And that's the end of that lesson. Let's take a look now at some old school stuff. All right, guys. So this one I put on here because this one has a huge trick to it. As you know, the absolute value of any number is just the positive of that number. So how is this one tricky? Because it equals a -4, there's absolutely no way we can solve this. Because there's absolute value of nothing can equal -4. So if it equals a negative constant over there, like, no solution. All right, so that was the trick. Now let's do this one. So this one equals a positive, so this one definitely has 2 answers, like we talked about in the last lesson. -y plus 3 has to equal 10, and -y plus 3 has to equal -10. So we just kind of like change it on this one, remember? Subtract 3. -y equals 7. Now, if you don't know, there's a not just a negative there, it's a -1 there. So divide by -1, and you get y equals -7. There's a lot of kids on that trampoline. Okay, the next thing you need to do. That's awesome. Good. Subtract 3 from both sides. -y equals -13. Remember, that's a -1, so divide by -1, and you get y equals +13. So if originally you were to put a -7 in for this y, which would be a +7, it would work. And if you put 13 in there with that -y, which would be -13, you would also get that 10 at the end. So I think my favorite example is probably example 4 and example 5, because example 4 shows you what to do when it's not perfect, and example 5 shows you what to do when it is perfect. So those 2 are kind of like your bread and butter for this lesson. All right, good luck on the practice.